Test, test. Vous m'entendez? Ça va?
Hey, my name is Rick.
My name is Mathieu.
And I'm Maxime.
And we are the co-founders of Helical.
I think that it's quite realistic to think about it in the future. I think at the moment, to be very transparent, I think there's different things that Luxembourg needs to focus on. I think we need to attract talent for AI, which is important if you want to create a niche for biotech. And then I think there needs to be a lot of support in getting data regulations in place, but also being very quick for everything coming around governance and regulatory elements. So I think we have the potential, but realistically we are not entirely there yet. But I think we're all working on it to make this realistically possible in the near future. So having access for MeluXina for our work is quite important because one, it actually accelerates us in terms of like having hardware access, which is quite important when training new foundation models in biology. So we trained Helix, our first model, on MeluXina with a lot more GPUs than we could afford having in our offices. And second, I think what is very important to us is really the data privacy, because we are a startup, so we don't have expertise in every domain, and having somebody helping us really setting up secure storages, but also having access to that with our clients to have their access to the data on their tiers makes a lot of sense for us. So we are really happy that LuxProvide could help us there.
Yeah, so for Luxembourg to become a global leader in AI for biotech, we need to do two things really well. We need to be able to attract the best possible talent, which you do by specializing on your niches and having good regulatory framework for attracting talent, which is already the case. I think we can do better by focusing on those niches. And number two, especially since it's AI, we need to double down on hardware. We need to build bigger clusters. We need to stay competitive as Europe there, and we need to move a lot faster than we're moving today. If you think about how fast the US is moving on those things, we have some catch up to do, and I think we're on the right track, but we need to double down on it. I think in Luxembourg, one of the main advantages is the closeness you have to the actual policymakers. So as a startup, you have an enormous way to get your way, basically, to influence where things are going, which is unparalleled, I would say, in other countries. Plus, there's an amazing framework here for attracting talent, making talent move here. We are very centrally located in Europe, and I think this is the main things that you need as a startup to be successful. On top of that, I think being close to institutions such as MeluXina allows us to move really fast and to train our models in a lean and efficient way, have the good expertise, super close. You basically have the capacity to simply, as we are currently doing, walk into your supercomputer's office, talk to people and solve the problems. I think this proximity is something Luxembourg is unparalleled in.
So I think one thing that we are still missing a little bit in Luxembourg, I think, is really attracting a lot of talent from different areas, especially biotech. Since one, Luxembourg doesn't really have a big pharma industry, for example, or biotech industry, even though research is going on in those areas. I think we can do a little bit more work to really push for that niche and attract more talent through either grants or really interesting projects. And then I think, second of all, I think what can be actually game changer as well, which is not always easy to do, is really speed in terms of like how can we help startups in these areas to really innovate quickly by having quicker access to funds or compute and really support in these difficult waters of accessing funds, but also maybe regulatory elements which become more and more critical now that regulations are in place. And so navigating those becomes really hard if we are not flexible and make sure that innovation still thrives. So I think one thing that LuxProvide could really do to also improve the services is really the flexibility that it already has. But in comparison to Amazon's and Google's and Microsoft's, I think key for younger companies is really having access to a flexible team and services to create either their software stack or platform that leverages then the hardware and really helps them thrive in this environment where production level readiness is really important. And customization is more important than just having the large hyperscalers help you. So I think this is really a point that is important to Helical, and I think that LuxProvide could really even more improve on that, because it's, I think, a key factor for a lot of success.